And when he said the guillotines are ready, I said, like the French Revolution. He said, yes, the guillotines are ready. Figuratively, the media spun that we were saying that black people have guillotines. And that's how they play on the public's ignorance, when people use a metaphor or an analogy. So I will take calls, but I just want to hear what you think about this. Do you think it's a false flag? Is there any doubt they're trying to start a race war this summer? How do we stop it? I just want to get like 60 seconds from you, interspersed with Jakari and Reverend Childress. So we're going to the big roundtable, free-for-all discussion forum here, right into the third hour. 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. And all I ask is that you have a good telephone and just get to your point, because I want to get to a lot of people. And you know I'm bad about going to calls. So 800-259-9231. But every expert we've talked to has been definitive on the fact that they're coming after the guns, they're gearing up, they're funding their foundations, they're funding their local campaigns, their federal campaigns, they're getting Obama ready with executive action to restrict the Second Amendment. It's in the new TPP treaty. They're trying to ram through tomorrow while we're all busy, thinking the end of the world just happened. Now they had a bill for concealed weapons without permit, now dead because of this. Already dead before it even happened. This, no doubt, is the push to get our guns, when the answer is arm yourself. They had a white church, remember, in Colorado. Well, there's actually a mixed church for everybody, and a guy came in to kill everybody, and they had an off-duty cop there who volunteered to be armed, and they took him out. They were able to shoot one person. And I'm telling you, if you're a soft target, like a church or a shopping mall or whatever, they should invite good people with CHLs to have their firearms. Because thugs are inherently scared. Notice this reported shooter, Roof, gave up to the cops. Let me tell you, you're gonna be in a supermax prison that's living death the rest of your life. What an idiot if he really did it. And he fits the MO as some loser that, blamed all his problems on the black people. You can personalize it, a cold-blooded killer sitting there for an hour with people before he starts exterminating them. And the media is going to play on that, humanizing what happened to cause as much pain as possible. Well, the folks are dead. It's not going to bring them back. Humanizing babies, though, will get people to stop killing their kids. I don't care what color they are. And that's the real litmus test. Every so-called liberal I've talked to that's pro-abortion will then, when the camera isn't on, go, nobody wants these poor black people. You going to take care of them? Including blacks. Reverend Childress is joining us. And I just don't get how I'm supposed to get all sad and freak out about 9 dead people. I mean, I don't like it. But I'm really upset about how they're going to create racial division. Coming up after these calls, right before I go to Reverend Childress, Reuters reports deposit withdrawals surge at Greek banks as debt noose tightens. We warned of this on Monday. Greece could be forced to lock down savers' cash as debt crisis worsens. This is going all over the world. See, this is what's big. What's big? 14 million aborted blacks or 9 killed? One man's a tragedy, 10,000 is a statistic. Joseph Stalin. It's true. How do we humanize everyone? And just to be manipulated and played by the globalist, whether this event was real or not, it was culturally manufactured, if it wasn't a false flag, by pushing a race war, which they're admittedly got going as a divide and conquer, while the globalists loot us and destroy our country and our jobs and our future. Tom, Joe, Jerry, Jesse, Francis, and others, we're taking your phone calls right now. Tom in New York, what's your take on this situation, this tragedy?
Yeah, Alex, you've been right on the ball with a lot of what you're seeing. I'm currently in the area, and I've been following this thing. I got up about 3 in the morning. Something wasn't feeling right. Turned the TV on. I've been watching all the different networks with all the PowerPoints that they've been putting out. Just want to run down some background of this character that we're talking about and all this. I guess the alleged trespassing incident he had earlier that showed up on his criminal record involved him basically casing a shopping mall, wanting to find out what time they closed, how many employees would be there, as if that may have been a potential setup for an incident along these lines. I guess also he was being treated with a pharmaceutical known as Suboxone, which is supposed to be to take care of heroin withdrawals or opiate
That's right.
withdrawals.
I meant to mention that. I mean, they're always on some type of manipulative, weird drug. And I was looking into that drug. Isn't it in an anti-anxiety, antipsychotic range?
Right. The listed side effects for it are severe anxiety, severe depression, suicide, hallucination, as well as amnesia. Go figure.
Oh, he was on an amnesiac. What have I been saying for an hour and a half?
Yeah, exactly the same thing. Now, his next involvement he has is for a drug bust in Lexington County, South Carolina. Anybody that's from that area, they'll know very well that that is a complete frame-up area as far as pullover and planning of narcotics. So I don't know what possibly that could have played into it. But, you know, I'm watching all these different things this morning. You did talk about the statements he had made when he was in the church. The earlier thing I heard slip out and not come back since was the words were muttered while he was doing the shooting that, yeah, black people were taking over everything, but something needed to be done about it, and he couldn't handle living in a world like that anymore. It was more or less to that effect, word for word. The other thing I'm looking at this that's really sticking out in my mind was, you know, we just went from Slager to this. It seems like when the incident went down with Officer Slager down there, South Carolina didn't waste any time whatsoever handling that as they should have. If I do remember right, the family of the victim in that case, Walter Scott, he did not want Al Sharpton. The family, they didn't want Al Sharpton anywhere there to stir anything up.
Oh, clearly they've got to divert with the doubling black unemployment, with the total screw job of blacks under Obama. That was his job, was to be the political cover. All they've got's race. And again, the goal is federalization of police, a summer of rage, using that as the political diversion to go after the guns. It's here. The new push to get our guns is here. We're in a fighting stance politically. We've had all the experts on, from Larry Pratt to Professor Lott, Dr. Lott. We told you it's coming. It's here. I don't know if this is a false flag, but they've done them before. And it's a false flag, and then, again, he was on an antipsychotic as usual. As usual. He was on psych meds. I mean, it's always the same. Something smells here.
We're on the march.
Testing worldwide today. Thank you so much for tuning into the broadcast. Tragic attacks that took place. 9 dead in this attack. And every time somebody's killed by a psychopath or a mentally ill person, it's a tragedy. We have cases of today of a monk, you know, stabbing to death one of his fellow members of his sect. Will we blame butcher knives? Clearly not. But there is a move now to blame the Second Amendment. President Obama spoke about an hour ago. We took it live, blaming the Second Amendment and basically calling for restrictions. We know they're heating back up for this, and they're saying gun ownership is the new KKK. We've heard it from Al Sharpton. We've heard it from Michael Moore, all the usual suspects. Time and time and time again, using this to try to disarm the people. We know gun crime's down 50+% since 1992. We showed those statistics earlier, even showed the LA Times earlier admitting it. But the perception's being created that gun crime is up. This is just unconscionable that this is happening. And we see massive push towards racial division, massive push that that's our problem in America, to destabilize local governments and basically federalize things. That is the push that is taking place. Now, separate from that, we have tens of millions of black people. We'll get the numbers from the expert, Dr. Reverend Childress, from blackgenocide.org, that since Roe v. Wade, over 50% of black people in this country were never born. Now, I've gone out to abortion clinics and demonstrated and done reports 30, 40 times over the years. But I've never specifically went out there and made it just about black babies. We did that last month. Saw these horrible Red Brigade communists come out from under a rock, say, we kill our babies, how great it is. Why isn't anybody concerned about innocent babies? This guy coldly sat there reportedly for an hour before he killed these people in a prayer meeting, including a state senator who was the preacher. And then left one person as a witness, and one 5-year-old lived because they played dead. Pretty smart. Well, it would have been smarter if that state senator would have been packing heat. And the answer is to start arming. The answer is to defend ourselves. The answer to bad people is good people with guns. Obama said no other country has violence like this in the Western world. That's not true. Look at the numbers in England, the numbers in areas of Europe. Upwards of 3 times the muggings and stabbings and violent crime and burglary numbers. Yes, we have the highest rate in the Western world for people being shot to death. That's because we're an armed society. And yes, there are problems with guns. But it's a human problem, not the problem of the gun. And you can't penalize good people because of what bad people do. We're going to go to Reverend Childress here in a moment. I wanted to get Sha'Carri Jackson here for kind of a roundtable discussion. We're also going to go to Jesse, Francis, Joe, Jerry, Vincent, and others and take your phone calls. But Sha'Carri, before I go to Reverend Childress, and we'll put Reverend Childress' website up there with his URL, before we do that, just overall, in there analyzing different angles of this, what's your overall first assumption? And are you surprised we've confirmed that he was on a psychotropic-style drug?
Oh, not at all. When we talk about these drugs that these people were on, myself and Kid Daniels, we went to Fort Hood after this most recent shooting, and Kid asked the general, he said, was this guy on any type of drugs? And he answered flat out and said yes. So we see this time and time again, these people who take these mind-altering drugs that are supposed to help you, but to anybody who would watch these commercials, Alex, they see in the fine print when the guy tries to speak real fast, this could, you stop taking this drug immediately if you have any thoughts of suicide or violence towards others or something to that effect. So that does not surprise me at all. Now, as far as the actions of this individual, Mr. Roof, well, I shouldn't call him Mr. Roof, of going to this church and killing these people.
He looks whacked out of his brain.
Yeah, I mean, you can take one look at this guy. They have mugshots of him. They have, I guess, Facebook pictures or wherever these pictures come from. And he definitely looks like he's on another planet. He has this blank stare, this weird haircut. The guy looks like something's wrong with him. And to see this, it's very horrible. But to anybody who would say, let's immediately take away the guns, I was telling you off air, Alex, that I had an uncle, he's passed away now, but back when he had a church up in Michigan, if he wasn't packing, he made sure that the person watching the door had the heat on him. And it wasn't, some obtruse thing. It wasn't, very pushy. He was just politely answering the door, opening the door. Hey, come on in. And you just had a Glock or whatever you had.
Because somebody might come looking for somebody they want to shoot at the church.
Yeah.
Or it might be a crazy.
Yeah, somebody who just wants to go in there and kick up stuff. But that's the reason why you have an armed society, so you can defend yourself. And this is no way a knock on the police, but just this most recent incident, dialing 911 did not save the people in this building. That's why you need to have the ability to defend yourself. And we think about the shootings that happened recently right here in Dallas, also this past Thanksgiving here in Austin. And yeah, the guy goes to a hard target, a police station. He's able to fire off rounds in both of these cases, but the police take him down. Why? Because the police are armed. They can respond. They don't have to dial 911. They are 911. That's why you need to be your own 911 and have the ability to defend yourself.
That's right. Black Charleston Church should have been its own 911. They should have been armed. 911 didn't save the victims at Charleston. There's your headline. I mean, we're in a culture war, folks, a war for individual liberty. What do you think, and I want to go to Reverend Childress and stay with us, Sha'Carri, of your analysis. What do you think of the instant attempt to claim that guns are now somehow racist?
Well, they always blame guns, whether it's, the LA Times or when the Elliot Rodger case happened briefly or recently. And, he had a knife, he used a car, but just the simple fact that he used a gun, we have to ban all the guns. It wasn't let's ban the cars, let's go ban the knives. And now when we're talking about the simple act of owning a firearm as racist, it's nothing new, but it's very inaccurate. Because regardless of what they may be doing today, the NRA was founded to help minorities learn how to shoot. And a lot of people forget that. They say the NRA is the KKK, which cannot be further from the truth.
And they know that when they say that on Fox Sports and CNN. Let's not forget, Rupert Murdoch has these messages on his other platforms. Fox News, he has just to control conservatives. But outside of that, he's pushing carbon change,